If you do all of those things, I think you can be whoever the fuck you want to be in like 18 months.
Welcome back to Be the Standard. Denny Paul, I'm your host. I'm here as always with my best friend and co-host Mike Burns. And today we are going to be talking about fitness, a little bit about diet, a little about supplementation, things of that nature. I know we've talked about this before or touched upon fitness before in the sense of, requirements in civil service jobs and in the military and things of that nature. But this time we're going to get into a little bit more in the weeds of, kind of what we do as far as, the way we work out, the things we put into our body, and the things that we think work, or the things that we know work for us. We're not going to tell you guys what to do, what to put in your body, or any of that stuff, but we'll be transparent in how we do things. So, what's up, brother?
What's up?
Not much, man. I'm going to let you take the reins on this one for a little bit to get started.
Be
And
careful.
Here's why.
You got to be careful.
For those of you who don't know, Mike is the current owner of CrossFit Rail Trail in Hudson, Massachusetts.
Yep.
He has been in the CrossFit world now exclusively for 14 years? 13?
So we got into 2010. So
14 years.
14 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So he's my guy that I go to, anything CrossFit related. You know how these people are. They like to talk about it. So if you have a quick question, you'll get all the answers.
In the beginning, we do. It wears off a little bit.
I actually have to admit, I did CrossFit for 4 years, 4 years.
Yeah.
After our deployment, I got into it overseas. Not the way you did, but I did get into it while we were deployed, and I kept it going for a few years after we deployed. So I know what it's like. I did get in that obsessive mode with it, right? Because you're pushing yourself, you're taking your body to levels that you really haven't gone to before. You're doing new movements that you've never done before. And you start to become really happy and proud of yourself with some of your accomplishments, right? Because you feel your body getting stronger. And one thing about CrossFit is they do a lot of these heavy, the 4 key lifts, like deadlift, squat, bench press, front squat, back squat. Am I missing one?
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of bench press though.
No, but it's there.
It's there. It's not really. I think
when we did our strength programming back then, it was.
You can't go by what we did overseas.
What it was. No.
Yeah.
This was after.
Yeah.
But I remember they tracked our 4 key lifts, and one of it was front squat, back squat. It was
usually just 3.
Bench.
It was just the 3.
And deadlift.
Yeah, it was. Well, if you look at the CrossFit original total, right, it definitely wasn't bench press. I wish it would be cool.
Yeah,
I think it was strict press.
Oh, you know what? That's what it was. This is what
back squat and deadlift.
When I did it, it was bench press, strict press overhead, back squat, and deadlift. Mm-hmm. It was those 4, and then you tracked your progress in your 1 rep max each week for all of those movements, and then obviously you're doing all these workouts in between. But anyways, I remember getting really excited because every week I would see those numbers go up, right? Like I got up to
every week. Wow, that's pretty good.
I got once my body got used to moving that way, I got strong. Like I was benching 305, I was back squatting 400, 405, and then I was deadlifting almost 5. And I'm not a big guy. I'm only fucking 5'8" on a good day, right? So for me to be able to do that and have that type of strength, I remember being I wanted to tell everybody. Anybody who would listen, I would tell them. So that's just, I fell victim to it too, guys, so I apologize, but CrossFit can do that to you.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was more, the strength part is I enjoy more now as I'm getting older. But, it's something that captured my attention. I never got into the regular gym. I tried. I would do, the buy tries and all that stuff. Whatever it was just, it never grabbed me. It never kept me engaged. I would maybe do it for a month if I was lucky, and then would take months off. And so I never really got into that style of fitness. I think the thing I got close to that was when I was in Iraq. I was working out with some Blackwater guys, and this one guy I was working out with would superset all that stuff together. And I was like, oh, this is cool. You know what I mean? My heart rate was up, and it was cool. And I did that a little bit when I got back, but then I fell off of that as well because you're by yourself. And then once I got into CrossFit, when we got into CrossFit overseas in Afghanistan, first off, I saw the return on your investment how fast that was, right? You put the work in, you got a fast return on your investment. I'm talking like in functional space. Like we saw that on missions that we were doing every day out there. You know what I mean? And how you could just perform. So that's what sold me. And then when I got back home and I got into the methodology, that's when I just went down the rabbit hole, as you know. I just like, all right, I love this. Let's go. And immerse myself in it heavily, and then got into coaching right away. Got right back. Read every article I could read. I literally watched every video you could watch. Went and got my level 1 like right away. I went and went to CrossFit New England, did my elements there. Even though I did CrossFit for a year, I just wanted to learn from them. And then I was just like, and I started a nonprofit affiliate for the fire department called Framing and Fire CrossFit. That was a lot of fun, and just coached. I just really want to do this, and then started coaching for CrossFit Sobo in Southborough. I think in 2012, right? We got back in 2011, so 2012, and then it was game on from there. Then a couple years later, opened up CrossFit Rail Trail, and it's been 10 years. So that is my passion. That's because it's a passion. It drives me, so it keeps me engaged. The regular gym, nothing wrong with it. I don't think they're opposing things at all. I think they're mutually exclusive, actually, and they work well together, which will be a whole other topic for another day. But I just never kept my attention.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what CrossFit encompasses is great because it gives you your cardio, it gives you your strength training, it gives you, the durability and the flexibility type of movements as well. My only beef with it now is I feel like it went from, functional fitness, and I just look at so many of these movements now, and I don't think they're all that functional.
Yeah.
That's like yes, a deadlift is very functional. You bend over, you pick shit up, you do it all the time,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, absolutely.
Picking stuff up, putting it over your head.
There's no arguing
you
that.
do that
I
shit
don't
all the
care.
time.
Good luck.
If you need to pull your body up, that's functional. You might need to do that someday, right?
Yep.
So all of these things in CrossFit, I think, are functional. But there also are so many things in that space that I think they're just movements, and they came up with these things for people to do because they're hard, not necessarily because it's actually a functionally fitness type movement.
Yeah.
But overall and generally speaking, I know I like to give you a hard time sometimes. I think CrossFit is a great way to test yourself physically and mentally at the same time.
Yeah, definitely gonna do that. But that's also where you gotta be smarter. Like my beginning years in that, like we're both type A, right? We come in, go a little too hard in the beginning. You gotta check your ego. I think the more you can check your ego when you do CrossFit, the better you're gonna be at it, and you're gonna be in it for many, many years to come. When you go in with an ego and you're trying to keep up with these kids, or even just trying to keep up with anybody next to you, that's the wrong answer. It's you against you, and if you truly embrace that, you will last forever. I think CrossFit is because you'll modify the workout to where you need to be for that day. Say you're banged up, you're sore, you got a nagging thing. If you go to a good gym, they're gonna modify the workout to meet your needs where you're at for whatever phase of life you're in, whatever season of life you're in, and it should last you forever. And it's always, and that's, you talked about it before, but it's always different. It's never going to be the same. It's never repetitive. It's as long as you're doing it with a good gym, good programming, good people around you, it's very functional. It should always bring you up and last you and get you ready for years for your later years in life.
One of the things you said that resonates the most with me is just having to check your ego when you start a program like that, because you know me, like I go
still
hard.
Remember that day.
I go hard
Last time I
at
saw
these
you do it.
workouts, like always trying to be competitive, always thinking like I can compete with whoever, right? And I remember when I started CrossFit thinking like, yeah, some of these young kids, like, yeah, look at that guy, he's ripped, he's fine, but whatever, maybe he's strong. But, I could beat him. I'll beat him. Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. These guys smoked me. It took me, and I kept track because I'm a fucking psycho. It took me like maybe 2 years before I beat like one of the good guys in the gym in a workout. And 2 fucking years. Like those guys, like there's some athletes out there. Like you think you're an athlete, and you are, right? And you probably are. But there's some beasts out there, and you really do have to check your ego when you're getting into that type of intense programming. definitely in the beginning and work your way. And like you said, you get better.
I think
as
throughout,
time goes
if
on.
you can check your ego beginning and throughout your
for sure.
your journey, you're going to be good to go. It's when we don't do that. Anytime I've not done that, I've hurt myself, like overstrained. I didn't hurt myself, but I would overdo it, not recover enough, right? Because I'm trying to keep up. I can do all these things. No, you can't.
Yeah. Talk to me about, because I know this is important. I say it all the time. I tell people all the time that I work out more for how it affects me mentally than it does physically, right? And that's why I like to do it early in the morning, because once I get that workout in, it releases, the science behind it a little bit better than I do. But it makes me feel so much better when I get it out of the way. I feel refreshed. I feel ready to just kind of conquer the day. So I get it out of the way early. But talk to me about like the benefits of, what it does for your mental capacity, even more so, if possibly even more so than physically.
Yeah, so I love that you brought that up, because that's when I'm coaching our members and our athletes through it. I'm always reminding them of that. It's like, if you can challenge yourself, especially in the morning, but anytime, honestly, you get this workout, you don't want to do it, it's hard, but you make you find a way to get through it, right? And that training you've done definitely helps you mentally outside the gym, because you just treat everything in life that way, right? All right, this sucks. I really don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to chunk my way through it. Or however, the little mental tricks you use to get through the workout, you can use to get through things in life, right? But I love that I started doing mine early in the morning again, and I got to stay on it. So that's the best way to don't give yourself time to talk yourself out of it. Get up, go to the gym early in the morning and get after it, and then you're done. You are done for the day. You just feel good,
Yeah, I think it's like anything else that you put yourself through that's difficult in a mental capacity, right? Is each time you do that, you're just conditioning yourself to be tougher, to be stronger, for your mind to be, right? I think, you push your body to a certain capacity, and then you kind of feel your body feeling a certain way, but your mind, you push through it. When you hit that wall and you're just able to push right through it, that's your mind. That's your mind just taking over and saying, fuck that.
Always.
Like, I got this.
Yep.
And that to me is the best part about, like, we did that ruck last weekend. And, I think I talked about it a little bit on the Instagram page and whatnot. But, Mike and I did a ruck with another guy carrying a litter with a 150-pound dummy on it. We did this for 4 miles. It got heavy. I was in the front carrying the feet. The two big beefy guys in the back carrying the brunt of the work, the torso. And we did that for about 4 miles or 4 miles. And that sucked. Like, there were times during that, like, it brought me back to the Army infantry days of just having to push through and dig deep and put your body through a little bit of pain. And the thing about feeling that physical pain is that, guess what? You're fucking alive, right?
Absolutely.
You know that you're still here, you're still breathing. You should be grateful for that. And if you take it on with that perspective, I think, it just continues to build that endurance mentally.
Yep. That's why I love the like workouts with discomfort, right? That are just not like, especially that one, because in discomfort, I mean, as well as like, that was obviously physically hard, but just the discomfort of having this litter or stretcher, for lack of a better word, on you and not in a comfortable position. You gotta adjust it, do all this stuff, and it's not comfortable. At no point is that thing comfortable, but you do it anyways. You do it as a team, especially that one, because we did it as a team of 3. You work it together as a team and you get through it, which I think is the best. That's the stuff I gravitate towards. Now CrossFit, my style of working out usually goes that way. Even if I'm not doing a per se CrossFit workout, some of my most fun workouts are, I'm going to pick something hard. I'm going to hate myself in the middle of it that I'm doing this, or I'm going to want to quit how many times. But the fact that you don't, and the fact you won't, builds that mental resiliency for later,
Sure.
And everything you do.
Yeah. And again, that's why I always say, like, just the mental part. I work out because how it feeds my brain, not how it feeds my body. And having a nice physique is just a byproduct of having those good habits, having the mental capacity and the discipline to get up and just do the work every day, that's where things really start to translate. And that's where working out is highly beneficial as opposed to just, again, having a nice physique.
Yeah, I think when you start getting to our age, I think I hear it more and more from people. That's exactly what the goal is, right? Like the aesthetics from it, yeah. Of course, that's always a nice side effect, but it's a side effect. That's not our main goal. When you're in your 20s, I don't care what you say. That is your goal.
Yeah, you're just trying to get laid in your 20s,
Yeah,
right? Like, let me look good at the beach and let me get some girls, right?
Yeah. But now you really realize you start getting to a point like this. I need this for my mental, cognitive health, and for my years to come. You know, because you realize if you don't do something, you're going to decline really fast.
Sure.
You know, so inactivity is definitely not a good way to go.
Yeah, I saw something recently. I don't know if it was, some doctor posted it on Instagram or whatnot, but there was there was two pictures. One of them was a picture. It had the arm of like a 73-year-old man. Another one was a 43-year-old man or something like that. The guy who was 73 had been working out consistently the last 30-something years. The guy who was 40 stopped working out in his 20s.
Yep.
The guy who was 73 had greater bone density and more muscle mass than the guy who was 40s. And it's just proof that if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's so important. And we've said this so many times, and I've said it so many times to all my friends, especially the lazy ones. Like, you got to be fucking moving. You have to be moving. Your body will break down from lack of use, and you will lose your muscle mass, you'll lose your bone density, and you won't live a longer, happier, healthier life. It's just a fact.
And that's the key, is the muscle mass thing. I'm thinking now the science is coming back and proving that. Like, you need lean skeletal muscle mass. I'm not talking about being jacked. Like, I'm not talking about bodybuilder. I'm lean skeletal muscle mass. That's what's going to keep, your health going. It's going to keep off disease. It's going to keep your bones and tendons, you got to put that under stress, under load. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Otherwise, that stuff is not gonna. It will decay and it will atrophy over time, and it does it quickly after 40. As you know, you stop. It's not like when we're in our early 30s or 20s. I can stop working out and jump right back in. You can't do that anymore. But I think I saw this. Someone posted this the other day, and I thought it was really cool. That you should look at your lean muscle mass as a 401k that you put away when you're younger years, because that will get you to those other years. It's harder to put it on later. Not saying you can't do it. Of course you can, but you want to do it while it's easier and then keep it through all those years. Yeah. I think a good example is myself this past year, not this year, but last year when I was getting, going through that project with that gym that we won't mention on this podcast anymore. I'm not going to give it that due. But anyways, I got off my routine. I did. I definitely got off my routine. It was a lot of hectic hours and whatever. I can give all the excuses I want. But because I put a lot of lean muscle in the bank, I didn't blow up. I didn't get super fat or super out of shape because I did put a lot in the bank account, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So that I proved to be true. That is for sure. Because I did put a lot away.
Yeah, man, and I feel the same way because I'm 41 now, right? And I feel like I feel better than I did at 31. I feel better than I did at 25. I'm still lifting. I'm not lifting the same weight I was at 25, right?
I'm lifting way more weight.
But I'm lifting what I was at 35, 34. And it's just proof that if you just fucking do it. Right? You just do it and stay with it. It's not that hard. You do have time. I don't care what you say. You have time. Give me your schedule personally. Send it to me. And I promise you I can find you so many fucking holes in your schedule and you have time to work out. So if you have a better excuse, I'd love to hear it. But that one's unacceptable. I don't want to hear it. Moving on, though, I do want to talk about, in order to do this and to do it right, a lot of people, first of all, they don't know where to start. Right? People are just like,
True.
I've never really been into fitness. Where do I start? So how would you recommend somebody go about, they're just getting started. How would they go about setting those goals for themselves and, just getting into somewhat of I hate the word routine, but into a workout routine or into the habit of going to
I don't know why you hate that word. I think it's exactly what you need.
Yeah.
You need
and maybe in that sense, I don't mind it. I hate like the morning routine.
Oh,
of doing
yeah, no.
That's what I mean. But routine in general, as far as like getting
Yeah.
into a habit of going to the gym and that type of a routine.
Yeah, in order to make a habit, it starts off as a routine, right? And then it becomes eventually over time, it becomes a habit and then becomes a trait. It just becomes who you are.
Sure.
But you have to start somewhere. I love that that's a great question, and I love that you asked it because I get this all the time from people.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, just move. If you literally just say, hey, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, or I tell people, I'd like to see you work out 3 days a week if you can do that. If not, but in the days you're not doing that, I want you to walk for a half hour. That's it. Walk for a half hour. Just move, right? That is going to help you tremendously. But there's times, like, say you don't like the gym. Say you were like, Denny, you're like, I hate the gym. I don't like going there. So I would ask you just to just drive to the gym one day. Just drive to the parking lot, show up, and then you can leave. The next day, maybe you go inside the gym, and then you leave. The next day, maybe then you do a little bit, you do whatever. And after a while, you're going to get comfortable with it, and eventually you're going to do more and more and more. But it's the act in showing up. Showing up and doing the thing, whatever it is, or eventually you'll do the thing. But you really want to make sure. So that's a long answer to your question. So I literally say people start off, just start moving. Walk 30 minutes a day. Start there, right? I don't tell people to start changing their diet. Like, so what people tend to do is they go from 0 to 100 too fast. And then they don't get it. None of it becomes a habit. And then none of it becomes a trait. Let me finish this point. Then I know you want to jump in there. So you want to make sure that when you naturally start working out, you naturally start wanting to eat good. It just happens. And then you can start tweaking your diet. I do tell people to try to get rid of sugar as fast as possible. That's going to kill you. Get rid of soda if you can, but don't weigh and measure your food. Don't worry about the portions that you're eating. Just move. Start there. Start working out. And then we can start worrying about the things that you put into your body, because you're going to want to do it at that point. When you try to go from the couch to eating, not minding what you eat at all, to going from I'm going to work out, twice a day, and I'm going to then weigh and measure my food, you're not going to last. It's not going to work for you.
Yeah, and I guess I'll say to that is, I think the reason people start off so hard and fast like that is the same reason people fall off so fast, and
that's
that
exactly
is that
happen.
they want the results right away. They want the results quick. They haven't gotten to the point yet where delayed gratification is a thing.
Yep.
They haven't understood, or they don't understand yet that you have to trust in the process. You have to create a process first. You have to create a habit first. You have to execute next. And then that becomes, again, like a trait. And then once you kind of start to process it that way and accept it for that, that's when you start to see those results. But a lot of people, they just dive right in. My exercise is 0 to 100. My diet is 0 to 100. Fuck, it's been 2 weeks. I don't see a difference in the scale. I don't see a difference in the mirror. So they just fall off and they quit.
Yep.
Because they haven't eased themselves into it. They haven't created any type of a process. And, up until 4 weeks ago, I never did a workout program or diet or any of that stuff. I had done like paleo and like fad stupid shit, but I had never done and worked with actually an actual coach for nutrition, right?
Yep.
To count my macros,
Yep.
to, get into a program of working out. That was put together for me. First time 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I've been working out for 22 years. And one of the things I'm learning is that I love being on a program. And I think that programming is so important. I think that's the best way to get started. It's going to cost you a little bit of a capital investment, right?
Yes.
You have to pay somebody to do it, but it's worth it. If you want to do it the right way and you want to get results, pay the $60, $70 a month, whatever it is, to pay somebody to put together a program, to put together your nutrition.
If you get someone to pay, if you pay just that to get that, then
I don't know what
you're
it is.
stealing. Yeah,
the guy
You're
who's
winning.
doing it for me was a guest on our podcast,
Yeah.
Joe Luplow. The guy's a fucking stud. Check out his coaching program, Stage 4 Fitness. But no, he put it together for me as a friend. I didn't ask him to. He offered, and it's going awesome. I love the program. I'm doing movements and to the programming and exercises together that I had
what do you
never
think
done before.
the biggest thing out of that? You can, and this is the thing people don't get. People can find that stuff online. What's the biggest thing you're getting out of that?
I think the biggest thing I'm getting out of it is I'm sticking to it.
But why?
I'm holding myself accountable. I'm just doing it.
He's holding you accountable.
He's holding me, but
Yeah.
here's the
It's
thing:
accountability.
but if I had known how to put together programs and stuff myself, I could have done that myself because I know myself. I'd work out anyways.
But
I can hold myself accountable.
You can.
That's not what I'm worried about.
I know, but it does go to a different level, and definitely for other people who are untrained, right? To have somebody on the other end of that, when you know
for sure.
somebody is checking
There's
the
definitely
stuff
something
that you
to it.
put,
You're right.
there's a lot to it. I can tell you. That's kind of what I was getting at. Like, not everyone needs it.
Yeah.
You're obviously
well.
one
That's
of them.
why for me, I wasn't really biting on that
Right.
one because But I think for most people, your average person, like I said, that's just getting
1000%.
started.
They need accountability.
Get on a program. I don't care what you have to pay for. It's a capital investment, but it's also
You will spend more on.
you're going to get a huge
nights-
return on that investment.
You'll spend more on nights out. I go through your finances. I can free up a couple $100 a month that you should pay somebody to that's going to really give a shit and hold you accountable. Give and adjust the workout to you. Be there for you, adjust your nutrition to you, like accountability, like anybody. That's the key ingredient. Was kind of was getting at my foot stop moment there because we can get everything online. There's so much information. You can get your workout, your nutrition. You can get an app that does your macros. It's the accountability piece that you need. And again, going back to CrossFit, you get the group accountability. But if you go to a good gym like mine, you can also get the individual accountability, right? Or anywhere. I don't care if you don't do CrossFit. CrossFit's what works for me. I know it works. Anybody can do it. It's not for everybody. I care that you're just doing your fitness. It won't work for you. But accountability is the biggest piece of it.
Yeah.
You know, for most people.
And embracing two concepts, and that's delayed gratification and discipline. Those are the two biggest things. Because I was going to get into that next, and you know, how do you stay motivated to go to the gym? How do you stay motivated to stick with your program and stick with your nutrition? Right? You don't stay motivated. You stay disciplined. When your alarm clock goes off and you don't feel like going to the gym. I'm human. I hit the fucking snooze and I'll stay in bed an extra 8 minutes. Yeah. But I'm getting up and I'm moving my ass and I'm going to the gym and I'm going to do what I said I was going to do.
Yeah.
It's that discipline piece that people are missing. But they don't understand, and a lot of people don't understand, like, it's all up here. Yeah. You can train yourself. You can train yourself to do whatever the fuck you want to do. It's just, you just do it.
Yeah.
You just do it. And I know that sounds so simplistic and, you know.
It's always been simple.
Yeah.
Not easy.
Yeah,
right?
Not easy.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
So, and I want to just give a warning kind of on that. This is where people get stuck in any fitness they do, but I just see it in our realm a lot. Like if you're an untrained beginner in anything, but especially a CrossFit, in the beginning, you're going to get great results and fast. You're going to lose weight. Your weights are going to go up really, really fast. And you're going to like PR, get personal best, personal records all the time. And then you think that's how it's going to go forever. And it doesn't. That's just because you were untrained. You went from untrained to now you're trained, right? And then it levels off, and then you got to look for the victories are smaller later, and they're less frequent, and you got to be okay and know that's the way it is. In the beginning, you get all these wins, you stack all these wins, you're like, yes, this is awesome. And then once you become more trained, it does level off. Obviously, we'd be superhumans if it stayed that way, right? But you got to be the discipline part you were just talking about. Just be aware. It's not that it's not working anymore. You just went from untrained to trained, and now it's just going to be less frequent, but they're going to be more important, right? Does that make sense? So you're going to be like, I know I just went up on weight on this, so I got this movement, or my mobility's gotten better, my flexibility's gotten better, whatever that goal is that you should know. You should have a goal, hopefully, or many goals, but just go one at a time. It's going to be less frequent after a while, and then you'll start to, but once you get used to that and knowing that once you start getting those victories later, you're like, all right, cool, I got a victory. And they do come. In the beginning, you can stack them really fast, but after a while, they are going to slow down, and you got to know that's part of the process, and that's okay. Yeah,
and one of the things that you kind of alluded to it there, but one of the things I want to point out, and I've said this, I think I said this on a buddy's podcast I was on recently, nobody's asking, to go be a marathon runner, to go be a triathlete, to go, compete in bodybuilding shows and, all this shit, right? That's not what anybody's asking. And that's not a realistic expectation really of anybody. The people that do that stuff, great.
Yeah.
But the expectation of yourself should be that, I'm just up and I'm moving. I'm not losing a ton of muscle mass. If anything, at least hopefully you're maintaining what you have, right?
Yeah.
If you can build off of that, that's ideal. But just be up, be moving, and just once you get into that mode of being fit and starting to feel confident about yourself, it really does become a trait and a characteristic of who you are. And whether you like it or not, I know this is an unpopular opinion by some people, but it's just the truth. How you look matters.
Yeah.
How people see you when you present yourself, it matters. You walk into a job interview, it matters. You walk on stage to speak, it matters. Really, in anything that you do, your appearance, it matters. And people, who cares if people are judging you for it? Like, we don't want to put ourselves in a position where we care what people think. But at the end of the day, how you present yourself and your looks do matter. They do matter, and they do translate to different things in your life.
It'll be more how you carry yourself. If you're doing the right things, like you say, you're making these contracts with yourself and you're winning, you're doing the things, you're physically fit. You may not have the outward appearance, because some people just won't, but you will know it. You'll own it, and you will. You can tell. Like man, that person, like they walk into a room, you own that room because you know that you have that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was at a conference with this guy. I met him at a conference, or I had met him before, but at a different conference. But 3-4 weeks ago, I'm at a conference in Denver for work, and meet this guy. He's a bigger dude, got a little belly, but you know what? I could tell he works out. He works hard. And we're not like, you don't have to look like a fucking model. Like, nobody's asking for that either.
Exactly.
Not only are we not asking you to be a marathon runner, we're not asking you to be a model either.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm a model. I don't, feel like we're just regular fucking dudes. So that none of these goals or anything or any of these things that should be normal expectations are, nobody's asking you to be like superhuman, right? Yeah. So one of my favorite things to see at the gym is, that person who is obviously just getting started. Obviously, they're not in great shape, but a lot of times you see them, they're the hardest working person in there. They're sweating their ass off. And you can tell that they're there because they care and they're ready for a change. That gets me going in the gym.
Yeah.
It really does. Those are the things that I like to see when I'm at the gym. Those are my favorite things to see is that person who clearly hasn't made it a priority, but now has decided, like, I'm going to make a change. And, sometimes you get to see those people over time.
Yeah. And
they get skinny, they get hot, they get like, and like guys, girls, like, they change.
That's why I love.
That's the coolest fucking thing.
That's why I love being a gym owner, man. Being a CrossFit gym owner. I've seen people go through their journeys. Watching people go from, overcoming the fear to walk into a gym. That's huge for a lot of people. I don't think that's why when people shame people online, it drives me crazy, because you don't know what it's like to be anybody else. And for them to go, especially into a CrossFit gym, on the outside looking in, I get that. It's so intimidating. Yeah. And you get them in, so I'm just going to talk the CrossFit perspective a little bit, because that's what I know the most. And then watching them come in, overcome the fear, one, and then they work hard, and then they overcome their limiting beliefs. That's the biggest thing. Overcome the limiting beliefs, and you see that look in their face. Yeah. That's cool. And then the rest follows. That's, what's going on. Once you break those limiting beliefs, and you can do X, Y, and Z, and you watch what they can do later, man. And then just kind of go down that road, just watching their life journey. I mean, I've had this gym for 10 years. You know what I mean? I've watched people have a kid, get pregnant, have kids, do these things, and then just, I don't know. I mean, you watch people's life change for the better. And that's why I love having the gym, because you literally get to change people's lives. You get to watch their lives change, and you are part of that. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, and that shit, when you see somebody at the gym who's done that, who's gone from overweight to fit, and you see a change in them. You see that confidence, and that, man, that shit fires you up. That shit's inspiring.
That's what I live for.
It really is. It really is. But yeah, no, I love to see that, and like you said, once you eliminate, and this translates to everything, but I always say fitness is the catalyst to good things and good habits, and they translate into other parts of your life. You know, I always say that fitness is the catalyst because I truly believe that if you can develop those habits physically, they make you more mentally conditioned to take on, you know, the difficulties at work, the difficulties at home. And I just think that, you know, getting rid of that mentality of that limitation mindset that like I can't do this, and they overcoming it and seeing that is just so cool.
That's why I think fitness is the quickest way to train the mind. You know what I mean? Because it puts you in an instant difficult position. So I think it's a good way. It's almost the quickest way to train your mind. Obviously, there's other ways to do it. But also just the physical part that you get, the dopamine release you get from exercise, and all the reinforcing behaviors you get with it, just reinforce the mental thing. And then I agree. So it's a perfect training ground for anything you want to do in life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. As far as like supplements, I mean, I'll go first. Right now, the things that I take that were prescribed, it's over-the-counter stuff, but stuff that was prescribed to me by Joe, who's putting together my program, and my nutrition is I take CLA, conjugated lactate acid.
It was like, that's
I always forget what that means.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Vitamin D supplement, and then CoQ10, keep the heart strong. So I take those things. I take in almost 250 grams of protein a day now, about 260 actually. So there's those things, and then TRT. Got tested a little bit low, not low. I'm in the normal range, but on the lower scale of normal. Wanted a boost. They said okay, and I got a boost.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very small amount, very very small amount that I take. I actually take half of what the recommended dosage is, but it gives me the energy, right? Like that's where I was lacking. Everything else was fine, but I had no energy, and so those are the things that I take. Those are the things that I put into my body. I don't see these results that just keep going up. Like my strength numbers don't just keep going up. I don't keep getting stronger or any of that. I think I'm doing a great job right now of maintaining. Sometimes I'm 185 and sometimes I'm 195. Like I fluctuate, right? And again, I'm only 5'8", 5'9". So 185 to 195, I think is a good weight for me.
Yeah.
The Army used to tell me
the Army's
it's so funny the
ridiculous.
skills that they use, right? Or the metric systems or whatever you want to call it that they use.
I'm morbidly obese according to the Army.
So was I. My max weight in the Army was supposed to be 174 pounds. 174 pounds.
Yeah.
And I think at the time they weighed me, I was like 197. Like I was jacked up. I was only 26 years old at the time, 25. But yeah, no, I was obese. So they had to do the tape test on me, even though my PT scores were incredible.
Yeah. Well, so actually you don't know this now. So if you get a certain score now, I don't want to get it wrong. I think it's 90%. Actually, it's 90% in everything.
Yeah.
On the ACFT, you don't have to get taped.
They used to do the tape on me when I'd get like a 280.
Yeah.
And this was the old Army PT test of just 2-mile run, push-up, sit-ups. But I would score well on it. And they would laugh while they're doing it.
Yeah. I've been taped my entire career. I mean, my entire career. Like the military standard for what I'm supposed to be at my age and height is unreal. It's like, no way.
Yeah.
I mean, I weigh 245 pounds now. I am heavy. You know what I mean? I should be, I think my healthy weight would be like 225, 230. You know what I mean? I need to drop a couple lbs, but 245, I'm sure I'm like 45 pounds according to the Army.
Yeah.
Way overweight. You know what I mean? And obviously not the case. You know?
Right.
I'm very bad at supplementation. I always have been. I know people this is bad saying this as a coach, but protein, I try to remember to take, protein when I don't eat enough protein I'd rather get it from natural sources. And that's it. I mean, but vitamin D, I probably need that during the winter. I don't take that. I need to get better there. So that's why it's good to have the accountability piece, right? If I have a coach, right, we have this guy, it's good. Like you need that. I need that for those kind of things. Cause I'm very bad at all right. I've never in my whole life did supplements. It's just never been my thing. You know what I mean? Because I don't think to do it. I'll forget. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's tough to get. Like I said, I'm doing like 250 to 260, 258 grams of protein
It's not
a day.
easy.
You cannot. I'm not saying you can't, but it is hard to get that through natural sources.
Mm-hmm.
You have to eat like fucking 3 pounds of beef a day, right? Like shakes they're called a supplement for a reason, right? They're
It's
supplementing.
Yeah, you're supplementing.
Your actual food, and you have to do that.
Yeah.
For certain things, and if your protein, what you must have to take must be like 300.
Yeah. Well, it's probably about the same.
Is it?
I think so. I don't know. I'm
so-
trying
I'm
to lose weight. I'm trying
maybe
to lose
that's
weight.
why. Maybe that's why.
You know, I'm not trying to gain weight. I'm trying to lose a couple lbs.
I'm really not trying to lose or gain. I'm just like
Maintain.
just want to lean out a little bit, pack on a little bit of muscle, so basically stay the same weight wise.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, it's there's, and that's the other thing that fitness, right? When you really get into it and you start to really embrace all of it and you start to see results, you start to get into the science behind it, right?
Yeah.
You more so than me. I don't think I've ever really been that much into the science of fitness. I've always just been like, all right, well, if I lift that weight, curl it, my biceps will look better. I don't think I've ever really gotten into like.
And you don't need to though, right? Like
No.
people make fit. That's the problem right now with these fitness influencers who probably they're so young, they probably don't know what the hell they're talking about anyways, but they have a body, so people listen to them. It gives them credibility all of a sudden. But people make fitness too complicated. Just work out. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Like I said, I don't care whatever your niche is. Like, if you like to run, go run. If you like to lift weights, lift weights.
Nothing gets me going more than the Instagram handle that has fit in it. Or fitness, or some fucking shit like that, drives me up a wall because I know right away their picture's gonna be their gym pic. You go through, it's gonna be them fucking doing all their movements and whatever. And yeah, I'm in the fitness, but like, give me a break. And you just said it. Like you just said the part that's the funniest, right? They're young, they have a body because they have good genetics, right? They haven't necessarily, in my opinion, earned it. They don't have the resume yet.
They don't have the resume.
Not that they can't get it,
right?
But they're too fucking young. If you're 24 years old, you're not going to tell me how to work out.
No.
Like, no chance. There's that guy, Paul SkillRx Fit, or whatever the fuck his name is. I forget his name, but guy's like 50 years old and jacked, went to school for it, has a master's degree. Yeah. That guy can give me advice anytime he wants, and I promise you I'll use it.
Yep.
But
now, we're not discrediting you just because you're young, but it's harder.
No.
It's
harder to be credible, though. We're not trying to say you're.
It is.
You're not trying to discredit them, but
when I was in my 20s, I was
a
a good example of my 20s.
You haven't earned it
I didn't have to do shit. You know what I mean?
Oh.
And I could be ripped. Like I could eat
Same.
McDonald's every day.
Same.
You know what I mean? And and for you to, if you know what you're talking about, great. And it's gonna come out. It'll wash out. But don't throw scientific terms or nobody cares. You know what I mean? Like it just because you're trying to make yourself sound smart. Like if I know what someone's doing by the way they talk and the way that their results speak for itself. You know what I mean? So, but it's hard to it's actually hard to navigate this stuff nowadays because everybody's an influencer, right?
It's
everybody goes on ChatGPT and they're automatically a subject matter expert and whatever. They can sound smart, and then they're going to charge you whatever they're going to charge you to be their coach. You know, so there's a lot of noise out there, which sucks. You know, so and that's part of that's kind of like why we're doing this podcast as far as outside of fitness to try to we're just going to talk about what we know, and I'm not going to start throwing terms out there that
no, and that's why I'm open about it. Like as far as programming or any of that shit, never done it. It's the first time. I'm 41 years old. I've been working out since I was 18, 19.
There's your resume right there.
Yeah, like I don't. And that's why when Joe reached out and was like, "Hey man, I got this program. Let me throw it together for you." I was like, "Absolutely." Joe's a fucking former Army Ranger, former bodybuilder, has done competitions, knows everything about the right supplementation.
Like you see his powerlifting background. Yeah.
I mean, he's got the resume.
Yeah, strong man.
And that's all. And that's all I'm saying. Like some of these kids that are doing it, I do respect because maybe they went to school for it and they have the science behind it. And those kids are if you look at their profile, who's legitimately trying to do it. And who just walked into a gym and said, I have good genetics, I'm going to go teach people how to work out, who haven't really done the homework and built up the resume and the credibility to be able to do it.
Right.
And it's not just young kids doing it either.
Of course not. It's
Some
everybody.
of these guys are
It's
fucking
everybody.
30s, 40s.
Oh, it's everywhere.
It's rampant, and it's insane. And I hope people out there are doing their homework, before they start, taking on these programs, taking on these nutritions, and most importantly, putting certain things into your body. I really hope you guys are doing your homework on that, because those things have long-term effects on your heart, your liver, all your organs, really, your kidneys. So before you start, taking advice from anybody online, please do your homework. Can't stress that shit enough.
Yeah, and just to those people out there doing it, man, like, just realize you're putting people's lives in your hands with stuff that you're doing. You know what I mean? So just be cognizant of that before. If you know what you're doing, great. Keep changing lives. I love that people are out there changing lives. Yeah. Do that, man. I love it. But if you're looking out there just to make a buck and you're just selling them snake oil, think about what you're doing. You know what I mean? You literally are negatively impacting people's lives, or just playing with their lives. You have no idea what they're doing. It's a big thing, right? So, yeah, it's my public service announcement for today.
Yeah. So, we touched upon different types of working out. We touched upon nutrition, supplementation, fake influencers, lots of things. Is there anything else you want to get to?
No, I think that's a good wrap for today. But again, I want to throw it out to you guys. Like, what do you want to hear about? Like, we do have vast knowledge. I'm going to always go down the CrossFit rabbit hole, but I don't always have to. I do know more than just CrossFit, believe it or not, but that's just my passion. That's where it lies. But Denny, too, like what his routines are and all that. Or just if you want our take on or something, just kind of reach out. Keep sending us messages like you already do, reply in the comments, whatever. And we'd love to talk about it.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I think that was a good discussion. I think we touched upon a lot of things really that we haven't gone into detail on before. But appreciate your CrossFit perspective. I know I like to bust your balls about it, but it is a solid form of exercise and working out. It does work. I've done it, so I'll always make fun of him for it, but he's still my best friend, and it still is a good method. So
I would think nothing. If you didn't bust my balls, I'd be worried.
That's true. But as always, guys, thank you so much for tuning in for another week. I believe this is our 21st episode.
Damn.
That is when you become in the top 1% of podcasts that make it to not revenue generating podcasts, but podcasts. Most podcasts don't make it past, I think, 1 or 2 episodes. The top 1% make it to 21, and this is our 21st. So just want to say again, thanks for you guys.
Yeah,
thanks
absolutely.
to you guys for tuning in. It's been awesome. Our growth and the engagement we've seen has just been wild.
Yeah,
especially over the last 6-8 weeks or so. Can't thank you guys enough. Really appreciate it. You can find us at Be The Standard Podcast on Instagram and LinkedIn, as well as at Be The Standard Podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Rumble. Episodes released every Tuesday. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Be the standard.